Chapter 27. Ariana, Point of View.
The royal trial for the elders will be put forth now. People of Obsidian, for the first time in the history of our terrain, the trial is going to be conducted in an open court, right in front of you.
Vicus said, as everyone cheered.
Channeling the power of Vamir is very powerful and will cause major weakness to you all, so the royal ministers will cast a powerful protection spell around you.
He continued, as a group of people in white linen cloth started to make their way around the spectator side. Two of them moved in front of us and stood on side.
Initiate the protection,
Vicus shouted, as they raised their hands in the air and shouted. Protectional! They shouted, as different rays of lights emerged from them. Rainbow! Noah shouted excitedly as I looked at Alistair.
Every one of them has different type and different manner of power, so they have different color,
he said, as I nodded and looked at them. The powers joined together in a point, and they turned into a transparent bubble.
Since the king is unable to take care of the trial, I invite the future queen of Obsidian Terrain to lead the trial,
Vicus said, as I suddenly felt my breath quicken. I felt a hand squeeze mine as I took a deep breath and stood up. Vicus moved from the podium and made his way to his place behind Alistair and next to his wife. Today, we are conducting a trial against the elders who are accused of wrongly using their powers. All three of the elders are to walk through the gate of Vamir, opened by King Alistair. They will walk through the gate, and once they are out, if they bear the elder mark, no one is to question their place. But if they do not bear the mark, then they are relieved of their position, and the Lord Vamir will choose a new elder. Let the trial begin, I said, raising my hand in the air. I then bowed my head in respect to the statue of Vamir, then to the chairs of judgment, and finally at the people. I then turned and walked past the guards and took my seat beside Alistair. I finally released the breath I have been holding as I looked at Alistair. He nodded and smiled proudly at me before standing up. He walked to the place I stood before, and I nervously looked at Vicus. He also has nervousness in his face, but he still smiled, trying to encourage me. I just hope the booster Doctor gave to him is enough to initiate the process. The crowd roared and praised as Alistair looked around the people with a smile. He then looked down at the elder with a blank face before raising his hand. Blinding blue lights filled around us as he chanted words unknown to me. I call forth the great Lord Thamir to trial among the elders who have defied the rules of Obsidian, Noah started to say, his eyes bright blue. Noah? I called as I went to touch him, but before I could, I was stopped.
He is the next king, so the power of the king will also be reflected on him. He can understand the ancient language of the Obsidian, and hence he is also involved in the ceremony.
Vicus said, as I looked at my child in worry. By now his whole body was glowing blue, just like Alistair's. The sky suddenly changed its appearance. The sun was covered with dark clouds. Winds roared, and I felt a wave of heat pass through me. Alistair looks on the verge of collapsing.
He is still weak of power,
Vicus said as I looked at him in worry. A blue lightning struck in the place of Noah, and I screamed in horror. When our light died, Noah was not in the seat. He was beside his father, muttering the same thing his father was saying. This is incredible. Noah is combining his power with Alistair, Hala said as I looked in shock. A portal opened in front of the elders, and it was projecting so much energy that even the trees are being forced backwards.
Arya, now!
Vicus said as I stood up. Elders, the portal to the trial is now open. Please enter to initiate trial, I shouted. I saw Vitalia walk through the portal, followed by Salaki. Kalimir glared at me before walking in the last. For a moment, the portal's strength died down, and everything was calm. Alistair's and Noah's power reduced to a minimum as they breathed and looked at me. Suddenly, I felt a span of pain through my body. I felt as I was heating up, and I screamed at the aching. Every inch of me was in pain, and I felt like I was dying.
Ariana!
I heard Alistair scream before everything around me drowns in darkness.